The Chicago Bears have once again become the epicenter of pre-draft buzz, and this time it's thanks to a fresh mock draft from one of the most respected names in the game. This latest mock covers 2 full rounds, giving us an exciting opportunity to dive into not just 1 or 2, but 3 projected picks for the Bears. And among those picks, there's one in the second round that truly caught people off guard. Definitely a surprise worth exploring. Now, let me tell you, this analyst isn't just anyone. He's someone who has deeply influenced how fans perceive and engage with the NFL draft. Over the years, his insights, depth of knowledge, and consistency have earned him a spot among the elite voices in the football world. He's one of the few people whose mock drafts actually shift narratives and start conversations in serious fan and media circles. After running 4 simulations over just a little more than 2 weeks, he seems to have settled on this one as his final take before the real action begins. And if history is any indicator, we can expect at least a dozen more mocks from other sources before the draft officially kicks off. That's exactly why staying plugged into this content is key if you're a Bears fan or just an NFL draft enthusiast. Daily updates, detailed breakdowns, and continued post-draft coverage will keep you ahead of the curve. So yeah, if you're trying to stay sharp, this is the place to be. Let's get right into it. According to this simulation, with the 10th overall pick in the first round, the Bears are projected to select Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. Now, this is a name that's been gaining momentum lately. Bears fans have definitely started to take notice, and based on how the board fell in this mock, Warren makes a ton of sense. There's even buzz that the Bears offensive coordinator praised him during recent meetings with team ownership. That kind of internal support could go a long way toward making this pick a reality. Looking at how the top 10 unfolded, it started with Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter going off the board in the first 3 spots. After that, Tennessee, Cleveland, and New York made their moves, and the Patriots landed Will Campbell with the 4th overall pick. Mason Graham went 5th. Ashton Gentry was taken by the Raiders at 6. Armin Mimu landed with the Jets at 7, and Jalen Walker ended up with the Panthers at number 8. By the time the Saints grabbed Shedeur Sanders, who's quickly becoming a trendy pick, it left Tyler Warren available for the Bears at 10. And that, folks, is what opened the door for this scenario. And I've got to say, I completely back this pick. Tyler Warren is the best player available in that slot. Sure, tight end may not seem like an urgent need on paper, but the value here is just too good to pass up. We've seen Cole Kmet holding it down as the team's only reliable tight end for years now, and the supporting cast hasn't exactly blown anyone away. Warren gives the offense another dynamic option, one that can help elevate a young quarterback like Caleb Williams, especially heading into his second year. Let's talk scheme for a second. We know that the offensive coordinator back when he was in Detroit leaned heavily on 12 personnel. That's 2 tight ends on the field at once. Something that becomes way more potent with someone like Warren added to the mix. He gives Caleb a safety valve, a big target who can line up all over the field, attack the middle, and rack up yards after the catch. He's not just a tight end, he's a chess piece. You can flex him out wide, motion him into the backfield, or line him up in line depending on the matchup. As for his blocking, I'd say he's average to slightly above average. No, he's not a game-changing blocker, but he's definitely not a liability either. You're looking at a player who's physical, willing, and still has room to grow in that area. And when you factor in how physical he is in both the blocking and receiving game, you start to realize why he's such a valuable asset. You could even experiment with him in unique looks, like putting him at fullback or using him in a wildcat style package. If the league ends up banning the infamous tush-push play, why not get creative with a short yardage package built around Warren? That's what gets me excited, not just the talent, but the versatility and the upside he brings into a system run by an innovative coach. Imagine a playbook that fully utilizes his range of skills. Catching, blocking, motion, mismatch creation, and red zone efficiency. There's real potential for him to become a key contributor in year 1. Compared to previous regimes, this coaching staff seems more willing to lean into creative concepts, and Warren fits that mindset perfectly. Warren's not just a fit for the Bears, he's also one of my personal favorites in this entire draft class. There's a toughness and a versatility to his game that really stands out. Now, if you want him to play as a traditional tight end, he can do it. If you want to flex him into space and let him go after mismatches against corners and safeties, he's got the speed and the hands to make it work. That's what makes him such an appealing prospect. He can adapt to whatever role you need from him. And that's rare in a league that demands more and more from every position. And let's be honest, there's something special about having a tight end who can do a little bit of everything. Whether it's sealing the edge on a run, boxing out a defender for a red zone target, or slipping behind linebackers for a chunk play down the seam, Warren can deliver. He might not be Travis Kelce right out of the gate, but he doesn't have to be. He just needs to be another piece in a puzzle that helps this offense take a real step forward. Now, just when you think this mock couldn't get more interesting, we move into the second round, and that's where things take a surprising turn. There's a defensive tackle in this mix that really raises some eyebrows. We're talking about a polarizing prospect, someone with off-field concerns but immense upside. That's the kind of pick that separates aggressive front offices from the cautious ones. He's got elite traits as a run stuffer and can collapse the pocket as an interior pass rusher. And his name? Walter Nolan. And let me tell you, Nolan is a name you're going to want to remember. But before we dive into that wild second round move and all the baggage that comes with it, let's just take a second to appreciate what a bold and smart choice Tyler Warren could be for the Bears. In today's NFL, you don't just draft for need, you draft for value, for versatility, and for players who can grow into long-term difference makers. And that's exactly what Warren has the potential to be. Now let's get into the second round, where things really start to heat up. The Bears' next pick, the one that raised a lot of eyebrows, was used on Walter Nolan, a defensive tackle with all the tools to become something special if, and that's a big if, everything clicks. Nolan is the definition of a high-risk, high-reward pick. You look at the tape and the physical tools, and he checks every box. He's explosive off the snap, incredibly agile for his size, and he knows how to get into the backfield. Last season alone, he put up 6 sacks and 35 pressures, numbers that stand out for any interior lineman, especially one who's still developing. What makes Nolan such a compelling prospect is that he's just scratching the surface of what he could be. There's a level of raw talent there that's hard to teach. He's the kind of player who, if he puts it all together, could completely change the dynamic of a defense. He's got that rare combination of size, power, and quickness that allows him to be disruptive in both the run game and as a pass rusher. But of course, it's not all sunshine. There are legitimate concerns off the field. Reports have surfaced questioning his maturity and commitment. Some scouts say he's walked off the practice field in frustration. Others wonder if he has the mindset to handle the grind of the NFL. One league executive said that Nolan seems to be making an effort to mature and shake off the bad habits that held him back early in his college career. Another executive pointed out that he might have one of the highest ceilings in the entire draft class. That's no small praise, especially in a draft loaded with defensive talent. But they also mentioned that bringing in a player like this requires a plan. You need a strong locker room, veteran leadership, and coaches who are ready to put in the work to keep him on track. It's not just about skill, it's about structure, and that's where the Bears come into play. This current roster has enough depth and enough experience in the defensive line room to take a swing on a player like Nolan. He wouldn't need to step in and carry the unit from day one. He could take the time to develop, adjust to the league, and slowly build toward reaching his potential. That's what makes this pick so fascinating. At the 38th overall selection, you're not necessarily looking for safe. You're looking for upside. And in that range, Walter Nolan is the kind of gamble that could pay off in a big way. If you're picking at 10, yeah, maybe it's too risky. But at 38, the value is hard to ignore. Nolan, talent-wise, is a top 20 player in this class. If he falls this far, you have to at least consider the upside, especially if your roster and culture are strong enough to support his growth. Personally, I'd take the risk. The potential reward is just too big to walk away from. And if it doesn't pan out, the cost is much lower than missing on a top 10 pick. What sets Henderson apart, though, is his pass protection. He's a significantly better blocker than Swift, especially on 3rd and long. That's a trait that often gets overlooked, but is crucial for a back trying to earn snaps early in the NFL. In terms of receiving, they're pretty similar, both capable but not elite route runners. As pure runners, they're both explosive, but again, there are those frustrating moments where you wish they just hit the hole instead of bouncing outside and losing yards. So here's the real issue. Do Henderson and Swift form a complementary duo? To me, not really. You want diversity in your running back room. You want one guy who's a burner and another who's a bruiser. In an ideal world, Roschon Johnson would be that physical counterpart, but he just hasn't shown enough. He had a real chance last season to prove he could be the number 2, and he didn't grab it. That's why I've stayed away from Henderson in my own mock drafts. I don't dislike him as a player. In fact, I think he was a better prospect coming out of college than Swift was. But I just don't like the fit here unless something changes. Now, if the Bears were to trade Swift or add a power back later in the draft, maybe then Henderson makes sense. But in this exact context, I would have gone in a different direction. Judkins or Johnson, both of whom were still available in this mock, would be better complements to Swift. Judkins in particular brings a more physical downhill style that pairs nicely with a back like Swift. Even though Henderson might be the flashiest of the three, and possibly the best at making big plays, it comes down to roster construction. You need balance. So how would I rank those three? From the Bears' perspective, I'd go Judkins first, Johnson second, and Henderson third. Even putting team fit aside and just looking at them as general prospects, I still have Judkins ahead of the others, but I get it if you're looking for a player who can take it to the house every time he touches the ball. Henderson is your guy. He's got that lightning strike ability, and sometimes that's enough to tip the scales. Either way, this mock draft was full of bold moves, interesting fits, and plenty to unpack. Tyler Warren brings versatility and firepower to the offense. Walter Nolan offers massive upside on the defensive line if the team can manage the risk. And Trayvon Henderson, while maybe not the perfect match stylistically, gives you another home run hitter in the backfield. These kinds of drafts always spark good debate, and with just a few weeks to go, you can be sure we'll be diving into even more scenarios soon. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Chicago Bears fans, brace yourselves. Rumors swirling around Hollis Hall suggest a seismic shift could be on the horizon. Nick Bosa, the San Francisco 49ers defensive powerhouse and former NFL Defensive Player of the Year, may be eyeing the windy city. The idea of Bosa suiting up in a Bears uniform is sending shockwaves through the league and lighting up social media with speculation. Bosa's resume is nothing short of elite. Drafted second overall in 2019, he quickly made his presence known, earning Defensive Rookie of the Year honors and helping lead the 49ers to Super Bowl IV. Since then, he's been a dominant force on the field, racking up Pro Bowl selections year after year and anchoring one of the league's most feared defenses. But after a grueling 2024 season marked by injury and a disappointing Super Bowl loss, whispers are growing louder about a possible fresh start. What makes Chicago such an enticing destination? For one, the Bears' defense is on the rise, but missing that one transcendent piece to reach elite status. Pairing Bosa with young talents like Montez Sweat and emerging star linebacker Tremaine Edmunds could instantly vault the Bears into top-tier defensive territory. Add to that a passionate fan base hungry for a return to glory, and Bosa's gritty style might be the perfect fit for the city's hard-nosed identity. While no official confirmation has come from either camp, the idea of Bosa in Chicago is gaining traction fast. Whether it's just smoke or the start of a blockbuster move, one thing is clear. If Nick Bosa joins the Bears, the NFC North, and the entire league will be forced to take notice. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.